Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Albion Obsessed podcast number 26. We come to you today on the back of a victory at Vicarage Road against Watford. But before we dive into that, let's meet the cast for today's episode. First of all, hello, Joe. How are you, my friend?
I'm all right, mate. How are you doing?
I'm very tired. I won't lie to you, but that's just dad life, mate. So, muddling
Indeed.
through.
I feel you. I feel you.
Aaron, mate, how are you? You played some football yesterday yourself. How did that go?
Oh, I do not wish to talk about this, Tom. I do not wish to talk about how we got on. I spent the afternoon basically picking the ball out of the net for 90 minutes, pretty much. It was a dreadful performance yesterday. But yeah, came off the field and saw we won, so I was pretty pleased with that. Pretty pleased.
Mate. Well, silver linings and all that. And then finally, Chloe, you were at Vicarage Road yesterday, and we're going to dive into a little bit more about how that was live. But how are you doing today, mate? You all good?
Yeah, I'm doing good, thank you. Yeah,
Brilliant.
it was a good game yesterday. Very good. Nice to get 3 points.
Definitely, and especially because historically we tend to struggle against teams that are in the bottom three. So it was definitely a positive to come away with those 3 points. So let's dive into the game, lads and ladess. I'm going to start just chatting a little bit about the team news coming out, because that was our first, I suppose, talking point yesterday was the team sheet. So there were 3 names that people perhaps expected to see in our starting 11 that weren't there. That being Yves Bissouma, Leandro Trossard, and Alexis McAllister. And there was some vocal supporters on Twitter, perhaps a bit dismayed by seeing the lack of those 3 names. Now, Joe, you pointed out that Yves took a knock against Tottenham. I don't remember that happening, but well spotted for you there, mate. Do you think it was a surprise to see Bissouma on the bench, or do you think it was just purely squad rotation due to his participation in AFCON?
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't actually see the knock. It was just going based on what other people were saying on Twitter. So yeah, I went off of that. So I don't know if it did happen or not, but that again, it's a valid reason as to why he wasn't in the team. And obviously, as you say, some AFCON duties as well. Probably a lot of travelling for him, so maybe needed that time to just sit out and come on when needed. Obviously played extremely well against Tottenham, and then yesterday when he came on, changed the game. The momentum was shifting in a direction we didn't need it to go. And then and obviously just with regards to the other 2 names you mentioned, obviously they come back due to COVID, so no surprises to see them on the bench as well.
Yeah, definitely. So with the absence of Bissouma, it meant that we started with a midfield 3 of Jakob Moder, Pascal Gross, and Adam Lallana. Now, Chloe, you said on the group chat that historically speaking, Lallana and Gross particularly don't play well together. I tend to agree with you there. Did you feel like it was the right choice after, say, we were 45 minutes into the game?
I still didn't think Gross had a particularly brilliant game. His corners were decent actually, but other than that, I just wasn't overly impressed with him. And I do think we obviously improved in the second half once he came off and Bissouma and McAllister came on. Who else came off? Was it Welbeck?
Welbeck came off, yeah. Welbeck and Gross came off, yeah, for Bissouma.
One thing I did notice was we just looked so much quicker going forward, and along with that, we look more threatening. And Lallana is quite slow because he's quite old, but so is Gross, and I feel like having 2 quite slow players like that does just really can ruin your whole sort of momentum in terms of attack. But yeah, I still would rather not see those 2. But I do think we have better players. But obviously, if Bissouma's wasn't fit, McAllister wasn't fit to start, then that's why they didn't start. I would have liked to see Alzate. I'm a bit confused as to why he's suddenly doesn't seem to be able to get a game, because I thought when Basuma was obviously at AFCON, he actually came in and did quite well for us. So I would have liked to see him start maybe instead of Lallana or Gross. But yeah, it worked out, so can't complain too much. And when I do complain, we always do well, so I'm not going to stop.
Good skills. Yeah, just on that Alzate point there, Aaron. He came in against Chelsea and he played really, really well. Were you surprised that Potter had gone for Pascal over Alzate in this one?
Yeah, I think Alzate brings something a little bit different to what Gross does, and pretty much spot on what Chloe said. When those two play together, Lallana and Gross, it just slows our momentum down, and it's not what you need in a Premier League game when you've got players such as Lamptey sprinting down the right, Cucurella on the left. We get the ball in the middle and it just sort of just stops, and then we think, well, where are we going to go now? Whereas that he's quicker, he's younger, he's fitter, and he's probably better than Gross, in my opinion, in certain areas of the game. And obviously, you've got to trust Potter with his decisions, and I think he's proven himself again that he's made the right call after failing. Well, not failing, but picking the wrong starting lineup against Tottenham last week.
Yeah, definitely. I was must admit I was very happy to see the return of a back three after our back four failed to do what it should have done against Tottenham. And just quickly before we jump into the game, I was just going to mention about Trossard and McAllister, just from a recovery point of view, really, because a lot of the people who were criticising their lack of being starting 11, I put on the group chat, I wonder how many of these people criticizing this have had COVID, and how many of those people have tried to exercise post-COVID, because I'm a runner. I run, but I had COVID 4 weeks ago, and since then I get out of breath going downstairs. I'm a pretty, if I blow my own trumpet, I'm a pretty fit guy. But even so, I struggle to get down the stairs without needing a little break. So I think, a bit of understanding here. I know these guys are elite sportsmen and, it's their bread and butter, but I think we need to be patient, because the worst thing you can do is, rush back players who are then potentially going to suffer with fatigue because of it. So it was great to see Ali Mack come on in the second half. I think that was a good move from Potter. So there you have it. Let's dive into the game. A first half that was, I think we did what we needed to do. We built up slowly. And of course, we got the goal towards the end of the half. But before then, there was some early warning signs from us about our intent. And Joe, mate, Jakob Moder, he's got to get a goal soon, surely.
Yeah, he has to. Obviously, he's got did he get one in a cup? Did he score against Cardiff as well, or did he assist? I can't remember. He did score.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was him and Mwepu.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he's scoring at a level that drops a little bit. So as I said, I think I said it on the last podcast, he just needs to that little bit more adjustment, because he plays extremely well.
Yes.
When in everything else that he does on the pitch, but it just that finishing touch, and it will come in the Premier League. It just takes that little bit more time to sort of find your shooting boots.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's worth saying that he was absolutely excellent yesterday. He tested Ben Foster on a number of occasions, and it was pleasing to see a midfielder getting into those sort of positions in his natural position after being used as a, I suppose, midfielder come centre forward against Tottenham. But we looked quite sharp on the ball. We were moving it around quite well. Watford, though, they haven't scored in 3 games now, but they do have threats. So going forward, Aaron, did you see any of the Watford players and their pace to be an issue at all in that first half?
I think pace against our back 3/4, or whatever you want to call it, can sometimes cause issues with likes of Sarr and Dennis. They're very quick players. There was a couple of times where they had chances. Obviously, Dennis at the bar and Sarr had their only shot on target. But other than that, from what I've seen, we dealt with them quite well. Even they had like a sort of 5-10 minute spell in the second half. But other than that, we dominated the game.
Yeah, definitely. I think Potter's post-match comments about probably it being the most dominant away performance we've seen from Brighton in the Premier League, and I think it speaks volumes. I was half expecting a new manager bounce myself. I was very glad to see it didn't come to fruition. That as well. We don't historically play well against Roy Hodgson, or Potter certainly hasn't beaten Roy Hodgson prior to this. But Chloe, you were at Vicarage Road. Now, the atmosphere sounded absolutely incredible over BBC Sussex and on the dodgy streams that you could find during the game. What was it like during that first half? Because it sounded like you guys never stopped singing.
Yeah, I mean, the atmosphere was probably the best away atmosphere I've seen this season. Certainly up there. I heard there was some new songs. Tarek Lamptey's got a wonderful new song, which I love. Yeah. But yeah, we almost didn't stop singing. Yeah, which was good. I have got a bit of a sore throat at the moment. I've had a cold, so it's like I was speechless. I couldn't talk by the end of it. I lost my voice. But it was amazing. It was an amazing atmosphere, and hopefully we helped. I think be the 12th man for the players. I think a good atmosphere can really lift the team in the same way that a poor atmosphere can sort of cause them to not perform as well. And it was polar opposites to the Spurs atmosphere, which I thought was quite poor for most of the game. It was good on the concourse beforehand, but actually during the game it wasn't brilliant. But yeah, it was amazing, and good. Yeah, we got the 3 points, so it was an amazing day out, really.
Fantastic. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I think it's worth pointing out there, because you're spot on, Chloe. I think a positive atmosphere, especially away from home, is probably a big part as to our fantastic away record this season, where I think we've only lost, and please correct me if I'm wrong, we've only lost one game on the road this season. Is that right?
Yeah.
We've only lost once on the road in the league, which is fantastic. And as I say, it sounded brilliant, sounded fantastic. The crowd had to be a bit patient, I suppose, but eventually it did come. Now, our man, Neil Maupay, who in our last podcast, we reiterated this man needs respect. And this is exactly why, because he's normally scoring at the end of the second half. But yesterday, what a time to score, and what a goal it was. Now, Joe, we said on the group chat, fantastic cross from Tarek Lamptey and then a phenomenal finish from Neil Maupay. But Joe, did he mean it?
Well, first of all, I just want to say that yes, Chloe, he absolutely did mean it. But I just want to say as well, in addition to that, I've sort of made the Albion Obsessed Twitter account a Neil Maupay fan account at the moment, just to keep pushing that respect that he needs. Right. I've started posting as well again on Instagram, and I've put on plenty of posts about Neil Maupay again, because what a time to score. He is our main man, and you could see in his post-match interview that he absolutely thrives on confidence. He's very self-aware. He knows when he's not played as well as he can. And then, comes into the league and gets us a really crucial goal. I really felt we needed that goal before half-time. But in terms of the contact of the ball, let's say, come on, he's a striker. He's going to say he meant it, and we have to trust what he says. What a finish. Top bins, and beat the cycling GK.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, it's really neither here nor there, really, because it was a bloody good goal on the swivel, top corner. Wow. Now, Chloe, I don't know if you saw his post-match comments. He said that he was the worst player on the pitch against Spurs. Now, I personally don't agree with that. What are your thoughts on that? Is that Neil just being a bit self-deprecating, or what's that about, do you think?
Oh, when because they showed that on Match of the Day, and I was like, oh, what? I just wanted to give him a hug, to be honest. I mean, he wasn't good against Spurs. I'm not going to pretend that he was, but definitely wasn't the worst player on the pitch, and I think he's probably quite self-critical. Like I reckon he's his own worst critic, really. So yeah, I was like, "Oh." that made me really sad to hear that, honestly.
It disappoints me as well, because I dread to think if he. I don't know. I know that footballers and social media, there's a bit of a, that footballers themselves need to be careful on social media, as we've seen this week with West Ham players. But also they must be somewhat aware of the use they get. And as we said after that Spurs game, some of the comments directed at Neil Mopo were unacceptable, and just plain wrong. So yeah, I totally get what you mean, Chloe, because I felt a bit sort of like, oh man, bring it in. Let's hug it out, because he, as you say, he certainly wasn't the worst player on the pitch. And I'd hate for him to think that, that we think that, because it's just not true. Just not true. Now, Aaron, you play a bit of football. Is there a better time to score than just before half time?
No, goals change games, and I think if you want to pick a moment to score the opening goal, you either want it as in before half time or before full time. And getting the goal when we did changed the game. Watford would have been buzzing to come in at 0-0. They're thinking, oh, we've got a chance, just keep doing what we're doing. Going 1-0 down, then it just changes everything that Hodgson's got to think about at half time. And a goal at any time can change a game on its, or turn a game on its head. But yeah, like I said, half time, before half time or before full time is when you really want him. And Neil has a special nick of getting the goals when we need him to. And yeah, like I said against beforehand, he thrives off those sort of instinct sort of moments, and that was one of those. It was superb. And even if he doesn't mean it, even the actual technique of it is superb.
Yeah. Our goal of the season contenders is just going to be Neil Mope. Neil. Yeah, because he's scored some absolute screamers this year, hasn't he? And as you say, Aaron, what a time to score, because Watford have gone in and they've had to completely change things around. So the teams come out in the second half. Watford have made a change, and they've changed their formation. And for the first 10 or 15 minutes, they looked better, Joe, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They were always going to. I know obviously Roy Hodgson has been Palace manager before, and we don't really give them credit, but he is a decent manager, and he's got a lot of know-how at the Premier League level. So yeah, they were always going to come out 1-0 down and give it a real good go. But I think you've seen from even that period there that they are relegation fodder this season, and it's going to take an absolute miracle for them to stay up, if I'm completely honest. But then obviously, Graham's made some changes and switched that momentum back in our favour. So yeah, as I say, it was always going to happen. But I'm just glad we've got a manager that can sort of switch things around if the momentum was to leave us.
Yeah, definitely. And Aaron, just before we did make our changes, Dennis, he skips around in the box and hits a shot off the crossbar. A warning sign, definitely. But do you think there was any real threat that they were going to get back into the game?
There's always a chance at 1-0. There's always a chance. It doesn't matter, how well we've been playing. Prime example is the Palace game away at Sellers. We were dreadful, but got a last-minute equaliser. And they should have been 2-0 out of sight, game done, but I missed. And when it's 1-0, there's always, like I said, always a chance. And there is until we got that second. As soon as we got the second, it was game done. It was game over. We're not going to throw away a 2-goal lead with 8 minutes left. It's just not going to happen. Especially to a team who seem to struggle to score. Haven't scored in the last 3 games. So yeah, when 1-0 dangerous scoreline, 2-0 with that long left, it's game over, really.
Yeah, definitely. And going back to those 2 changes, as we've already said, bringing on Basuma and Alexis McAllister for Welbeck and Gross was a masterstroke from Potter, wasn't it, Chloe? Because I think as soon as Gross went off and Biz came on, we started to control that midfield and we created more chances again.
Yeah, I thought Basuma and McAllister both looked great when they came on. we just looked so much more lively, and yeah, it was like the tide changed back in our favour. Yeah, it was quite exciting, and you're thinking we're going to score again soon, and eventually we did. I think, was it from a corner?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so I really rate McAllister's corners. I do think he is Gross's replacement in the sort of, because he takes set pieces and
Yeah.
he can fill that midfield role. And I think he's a really exciting player. I really, really rate him, to be honest. And it was probably a bit of a fluky goal. The way it sort of fell back to Webster after he initially hit it. But yeah, and they all count, and yeah, that absolute limbs in the away end.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I bet. I mean, it was. We've been saying on the chat that it would have. We needed that second goal. They brought on Sarr, and he is a pacey. You said it, Joe. We have faced better, but that pace is always going to be a problem for especially a returning Lewis Dunk, for instance, who at times, especially on BBC Sussex, Warren was saying about the strapping around Dunkey's knee, and there was a question about whether he'd be able to see out the 90 minutes. Were you concerned at any point in regards to Dunk, Joe, or was it you were happy with Dunk playing the full 90?
Yeah, I think you're always going to be a little bit concerned, obviously, coming back in at a Premier League level. I wasn't overly concerned about the Spurs game because obviously it's cup and it's one off. And Spurs, they are a decent team when they want to be. But yeah, coming into a Premier League game when you really need everyone sort of solid and firing, I was a bit concerned, but I thought he did quite well. Looked his solid self, made a good few Dunk-esque blocks, which was really nice to see him throwing himself about again. And there was one moment where Watford had a player offside and they allowed the counter-attack to carry on, and Dunk had to make a lunge. And I think he was having a little bit of a go at the linesman, saying, I could have pulled my calf there. So why are we letting those offsides carry on? I don't get that sometimes. But a really solid performance from him, and really nice to see a back three again.
Yeah, definitely. And return to scoring ways from Adam Webster. As Chloe said, it was a bit scrappy. But Aaron, do you think that this might reignite Gareth Southgate's outside chances of calling up Dunk to the that would be nice. Webster to the England squad?
Potentially. I think it's always an issue with Southgate. I don't particularly like him as England manager. I think he just picks players on reputation, not actually form. And I think that's where the likes of Webster, Dunk, even other centre halves in the Premier League, other than Tyrone Mings, Cody, all that lot, etc., will always constantly play or be included in the squad because that's how Southgate likes it. And it's going to it will take an injury or like a severe drop of form. Actually, no, that's a lie. You still pick Maguire. So I doubt he'll get called up. If he does, it'd be great, but I doubt it very much because, like I said, I just don't think Southgate really picks players on form and his reputation.
No, I'm inclined to agree with you there, mate. Talking of Maguire, there was a great video doing the rounds on Twitter about him getting absolutely turned inside out by one of the Southampton players. Yeah. It did make me sort of think, how was Lewis Dunk not getting picked over this fridge? But anyway,
I've never when I used to see on Twitter like Dunk doesn't get picked because he plays at Brighton and Southgate's obviously Palace through and through. I was like, that can't be true. And then I've seen him still pick Cody. That's an insult to Cody because he's actually not too bad. Mings, for example. The fact Tyrone Mings is an international footballer is scary because he is clueless as a centre-back. The only reason why he's there is he's left-footed. That is it. That is the only reason why he's there.
We know of a particular left-footed centre-back that would probably do a job, and he's also 1 billion feet tall. So
he is, yeah.
Yes.
If that moment ever happened, I probably would just melt in my chair. It'd be great.
I think we'd have to have to pitch in and get you an England shirt with his name on the back.
100%.
So it was nice. I'm not going to lie. It was nice to finish a game with a 2-goal cushion and to not at any point think they're going to get back in it in a minute. So that was quite nice, I have to admit. Quite a rarity this season. So I'm going to push you now, guys, for your man of the matches, because there were some really fantastic performances across the pitch. I think need shout out. So Joe, I'm going to come to you first, mate. Which player particularly caught your eye?
I don't know if he particularly caught my eye. It's just a guy that always goes under the radar and just delivers an 8 out of 10 every single game. It's Joel Veltman. I just think he's absolutely unbelievable. He's so professional, gets the job done. As I say, solid every single game. And he doesn't really get much credit that he deserves. Obviously, we all talk about that he's a bargain and everything like that. But he doesn't get the sort of just rewards like a man of the match and things like that. So, yeah, I'm going to give Joel Veltman a shout.
Yeah, I mean, good shout, mate. I think everything you said there is absolutely spot on. Chloe, which you were there, so which player did you think, they're man of the match?
It's actually kind of difficult to choose, I think, because I did think we were exceptional, to be honest, as a team. So it's difficult to like pinpoint someone that I think was a bit above. I'm gonna go with Mopé. Other than the goal, he did look good. He was involved in a lot of our positive attacking play. Basuma and McAllister were brilliant, but obviously they only came on second half. Lamptey, exceptional as always. But Veltman, I would say, is another one. He was very good, very solid. So yeah, it was a good team performance as well. And then I'm just going Mopé because I'm biased.
No, it was a very professional performance, I think, all over the pitch. So yeah, fair points being made there. And Aaron, who caught your eye, mate?
It's got to be the star man running down the right, has it not? I thought he was superb, Lamptey. I thought from the highlights I've seen, he was absolute quality. The ball he played into Morpay as well was good, and it was actually quite a good defensive display as well from what I've seen. So yeah, got to be the star man running down the right.
Yeah,
his name is Tarek Lamptey, and he's fucking dynamite. What's the song that is?
There's your explicitity warning for the episode, Joe.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. Always rely on you, mate.
Yeah, I think Tarek Lamptey in his natural wing back position is a much better prospect than Tarek Lamptey either playing on as a right back or as a right winger. So fantastic to see him there. I'm going to go with Adam Lallana because through the dodgy streams that I could find through, listening to Warren and JC on Sussex Sport, it's always very difficult to sort of pick a player when you've only seen probably about 2/3 of the match. But from what I did see, I thought Lallana, he kept us ticking over. He's silky smooth, and he's just a constant professional. And he gave Mopé a little kiss, so that was nice. So yeah, I'm going to go with Lallana with a honourable mention to Jakob Moder, whose first Premier League goal. I can almost taste it.
Last minute winner against United. Come on.
Be nice, and we're going to come on to that game in just a moment. So let's do it then. United. So United drew against Southampton 1-1. They're not in the best bit of form at the moment, are they? So the game on Tuesday, is it Tuesday night? Tuesday night against Man United. It's a winnable game, surely, Joe. Surely it's a winnable game.
Yeah, it is. But it's just that kind of game that they're just going to turn up and do us over, aren't they? I've got an awful feeling that it's going to be the game that they actually turn up for, and Ronaldo finally breaks the duck, and it's all leading up to Ronaldo scoring against us because they mentioned on Match of the Day that he's gone 5 games without a goal. Obviously now another one because he didn't score against Southampton. So yeah, I'm not overly confident, but with how Man United are, there's always a chance that you can get something. I'll take a draw. Yeah, I don't know if I'd call it winnable, but yeah, I'll take a draw.
How about you, Chloe? How do you see Man United? Are they the giants of old, or is this now just another game for us?
I definitely think it's a winnable game, but whether we will win it is a whole other question. I do think they've got a lot of. I don't think they're very good at the moment. I think they've probably got things going on off the pitch which are affecting them as a team, and they just look a bit lackluster. And I don't see any reason why we can't take all 3 points. But I would take a draw at the same time, because obviously they're still United. They've still got some world class players who can really hurt you if you give them half a chance. So,
yeah, definitely. I think, no disrespect, because you're right. They've got world class players. They've got Ronaldo, and then they've got like the likes of Sancho, De Gea. But from my own perspective is that I think if we get at them, I think we could get a result. Aaron, mate, I've put the same question to you. United, is this a winnable fixture for us?
No, I don't think it's a winnable fixture. Any game in the Premier League is a winnable fixture. Even when you play City, Liverpool, it's a winnable fixture if you turn up. And United have been woeful for the last sort of 18 months, really. I watched part of the game yesterday. They looked dreadful at the back when you've got a fridge playing there with someone who's won 4 Champions Leagues with Real Madrid, and they still look bad. You couldn't think of a better opportunity to win at Old Trafford than this, though. I think United's form is shaky. I think, like Joe said, it's just going to be typical United. They're going to turn up on Tuesday and just either blow us away or be absolutely useless. There'd be no in between, I don't think.
What I will say as well is that they're quite easily rattled. So we're a solid team. I'd say that we're going to go lose 4-0 now, but we are a solid team, and if we can get to half time 0-0 and frustrate Ronaldo and things like that, then I don't see why we can't push on, and because we've got the quality.
It's not like under Hodgson, for example. Like if we went to Old Trafford, you think, God, just don't get beaten 3 or 4-0. Just sit back and hope for the best. But under Potter, it's a bit more, why not attack them? There's no reason for us not to go at them. We've beaten them at the Amex before. We've scored at Old Trafford plenty of times. You just can't seem to get a win there. It's got to start somewhere. We never won at Liverpool till last year, and we haven't lost at Anfield the last 2 times we played there, and that's probably a harder place to play than Old Trafford. Old Trafford for me is, when I went to Old Trafford when we lost 3-1, I think it was, and it's not the place it used to be. It's not. It hasn't got the whole aura around it. The theatre of dreams. I don't think it is anymore. Like United worldwide are a massive club, but I don't think they're the giants they think they used to be. In my opinion, they've got probably one of the best players in the world. But then, other than that, you spent 80 million on a fridge. You've got, a World Cup winner and Champions League winner in Rafael Varane, and he's looking bang average. He's playing next to Maguire, and then you've got Fred and McTominay in the middle, and less said about them. But then you look at the team going forward. Marcus Rashford should be doing a lot better than he is. You've got Fernandes, Sancho, Ronaldo. It's world-class players, but they don't want to play as a team. So unless that changes in the next sort of 48 hours, then we've got a chance.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is probably the most confident I've felt going to Old Trafford and thinking we could nick something. I think last year when we went up to Old Trafford, I think they were in a similar vein of form under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and we did get beaten. But it's interesting you say, Joe, about like the whole, Ronaldo, he hasn't scored an X amount of games. And then there's that old sort of creeping feeling of, it's going to be us, isn't it? I had that feeling against Watford. Watford haven't scored yet under Roy Hodgson. I had the creeping feeling that it was going to be us, that the team that was, was going to concede. But also, I think there was a stat I read that Watford hadn't kept a clean sheet in the Premier League since January 2020. And again, I thought, that's going to be us, isn't it? But I've been proven wrong both times. So maybe I'm just feeling optimistic on the back of a 2-0 win. But I reckon we're going to go up there, and I reckon if we set up with our, in our best formation, 3 at the back, Lamptey and Cucurella on the wings, Basuma in the middle, I don't see any reason whatsoever why we can't come away with the 3 points if we put in a good performance. And in regards to Ronaldo, I mean, this is going to come and bite me on the arse now, but he's not the player he was because, he is older. But I get the sense that it's always got to be all about him, And I reckon that if you kind of rattle him, then I think that's United done, really. And I think we've got the team to do that. I mean, Neil Maupay is the king of shithousery. So all we need to do is get Neil and be like, Neil, go and wind up Cristiano, wind him up, and then see what happens. So,
or we need to start Shane Duffy.
Yeah, and Shane Duffy did a Cruyff turn against Ronaldo playing for Ireland. So
easy money.
Exactly. So I'm feeling quietly confident. I'm going to go for score predictions then, kids. Scores on the doors, please. Joe, what are you feeling against United, mate?
Head is saying United 2, Brighton 1. Heart is saying Brighton 2, United 2. Because I would absolutely, as I say, take a draw. Let's go with my heart. I'll say 2-2.
Amazing. Chloe, mate, what are you feeling score-wise?
I'm going to go 1-0 to Brighton. I think it will probably be, if we do win it, it won't be like Watford because United are a way better team. So I think it'll be a narrow victory, and I think Mopé's going to score, and then he's going to do the celebration in front of Ronaldo and wind him up.
That would be hilarious.
That would be hilarious. I would
take
pay
that.
Good money to see that. Aaron, mate, what are you feeling?
Let's go 1-0. Let's go 1-0. I think, like I said, it's a good time to play United, and we're in reasonably good run of form before Tottenham anyway. Coming back off a good performance from yesterday, so yeah, 1-0, and if we do win it, it will be like Chloe said, it'll be 1-0, and it will be Le Petit Shithouse to get the goal.
Did I see somewhere that it's our longest unbeaten streak in the Premier League?
Correct.
At the moment.
Andy Naylor tweeted out yesterday. I think it's 7 games unbeaten, which is our longest unbeaten run in the top flight. And I'm going to keep that unbeaten run going. My head says it will be 1-1. Going to be nice and safe. But my heart says 2-1 to Brighton. Last minute Mopé winner, because that's what he does. So there you go. So, guys, looking ahead, we've also got a interview coming up with the stateside Seagulls. Now, Joe, you've organised that, mate. So you just want to tell the listeners a little bit about what's going to be happening?
Yeah, so Curtis really wanted to speak to the American guys and get their perspective on supporting the Albion from across the pond. So obviously I reached out on Twitter, asked if any of them wanted to come on. Stateside Seagulls messaged at the Albion Obsessed page. I left it for about a month because I completely forgot about it, to be honest. So really sorry about that. We got them on tomorrow. It should be good fun to find out all about the Premier League in the US.
Amazing. I look forward to it. But right now then, guys, thank you very much for spending your afternoon with us. Thank you to Joe, Chloe and Aaron for their time as well. And we will see you in the next episode. Take care.
See you later.